than the P2 driver, which was Jake Hughes, who we can see on camera now. Jake Hughes for High-Tech GP, then going from P2 on the grid. And the front row start is going to be critical in this race. The reason being the spray that will come off all the cars, which of course people like Callum Eilert and newcomer into the FIA Formula 3 European Championship for this weekend, and that will be the Frenchman Sacha Fenestre, who will be driving for Carlin, and he will be placed alongside Callum Eilert, who we look at now for the Prema Power team. Callum then doing a good job in qualifying, going from P3. There, as I mentioned, then is Sacha Fenestre. Then he joins the Belgian Max de Forny, and also Romania's Petro Florescu as additional drivers into the FIA Formula 3 European Championship this weekend. Fenestre is the brother-in-law of the three-time FIA World Touring Car Champion Jose Maria Lopez, and travels to the Nürburgring as the current Formula Renault 2-litre Euro Cup leader. There is Maximilian Gunter, who will want to get his points charge back on track this weekend after perhaps a slightly disappointing Zandvoort for Maxi Gunter then. Of course, sporting pink crash helmet, pink car, and now all new pink overalls as well, with that sponsorship now from the BWT company. So Maximilian Gunter then, some problems there with the visor. Alongside us, former Formula 3 stars and now top racing driver Alex Toril. Good morning to you, and as is usual, it is Nürburgring weather, isn't it?
Good morning, Dave. Exactly. Nice to be back behind the mic. And you're right, it's normal, typical weather in the Nürburgring. We have a really wet track, a lot of standing water, so it will be a really exciting race for sure.
As I mentioned, those that are starting on the front row, Lando Norris, Jake Hughes, as we look at Jayan Daruvala, who drives for Carlin. He's going from P7 on the grid. Those two on the front row of the grid, they're going to benefit from the fact that they're not going to be just mired in the spray that they will be creating. So all those cars behind, visibility is really going to be compromised, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. The good point here is you don't have many high speeds, so the higher the speed is, or for example, racetrack like Spa or even Nürburgring is really critical because you have a lot of high speed and a lot of spray. Here we have only two main points, the back straight, let's say, and this main straight, and the rest is a bit more slow speed. But as you said, it is critical from position 3 towards the end of the grid. It's really hard to see, and it's a benefit for the two cars starting in P1 and P2.
Well, we've seen Ralph Aron, Jayan Dravla then, and Joey Mawson, good qualifying from him, going from P8. Nikita Mazepin we looked at going from P9. And for High-Tech Grand Prix then, Tadazuka Makino goes from P10 on the grid. And I think just for the moment, and I'm almost tempted not to say anything, I think the rain has abated. And as I mentioned just a few moments ago, I actually thought it was looked like the weather conditions were improving. So Max de Forny then, driving for Van Amersfoort Racing this weekend. I mentioned that he is here. He's currently P4 in the Formula Renault 2-litre Euro Cup Championship, but with the Van Amersfoort Racing team is in the FIA Formula 3 European Championship for this weekend. Joel Eriksson, the Moto Park driver, a torrid qualifying from him sees him going from P12. Joel Eriksson currently P3 in the points chart at the moment. The points chart now has a new name at the top in terms of Lando Norris, who's relegated Maximilian Gunter down to P2. Ferdinand Habsburg, saw some great driving from Ferdinand Habsburg in Zandvoort, and we'll be looking for the same, although he's got hard work ahead of him because he's going from P13 in this race 1. Guan Yu Zhu, Prema Power team then, he goes from P14 on the grid, does Guan Yu Zhu, and has been on the podium 3 times, I think, with a trio of P3 places this year. And Pedro Piquet from Van Amersfoort Racing then, and he goes from P15 on the grid. Pedro Piquet again, who has had a couple of podium places, but the win has eluded so far this year. So car number 34 of Jake Hughes then, going from P2 on the grid, and there is our pole sitter. Lando Norris then, who, you know, that was an incredible achievement, wasn't it, Alex, in qualifying yesterday? I mean, we're not talking of a margin of a couple of tenths here. It's a huge margin, 135.601, 136.508.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big difference of times, 9 tenths in such a small circuit, because we are running the short version of the Nürburgring. So as you said, it's a big difference, but this is mainly also due to the weather condition. As we saw, it's more down to the driver to make the difference when you have wet conditions. And if you have the feeling, if you have a good experience in the wet, you can make a big difference on the lap time.
Well, we will see if Lando is able to convert that dominant performance in qualifying into a dominant performance in the race as well. Vanastra then, going from P4 on the grid, he's certainly made his presence felt in the FIA Formula 3 European Championship so far this weekend. So in the championship, Lando Norris currently leads on 313 points. Maximilian Gunter on 302, and of course Lando Norris also leading in the rookie championship as well. And there we can see the number 25 car of Mick Schumacher. Mick Schumacher going from P16 on the grid, and you can see the number 55 car right behind of David Beckman, who incidentally was penalised in qualifying for over-enthusiastic driving after the checkered flag. What does that mean, Alex? Can you ever be over-enthusiastic?
Yeah, I mean, it can happen that it's so easy to pass twice to the checkered flag. I think I have it also once. Depends a bit if you pass maybe the checkered flag in the last second or just after the last second, and you're just focused on your qualifying, you don't see. So maybe you pass twice the checkered flag. It's also a bit down to the team to call you by radio and say, okay, session is finished. They see if you already passed the checker flag on the time screen.
Right.
So I think it's a bit a mix between the driver, of course, looking at the race control post, and also a bit of the team to see, okay, he already passed the checker flag, and inform the driver.
Over,
like take pickup or whatever, or keep driving fast, maintain the pressure. Whatever, there's different information the teams can give you to let you know the session is over.
Well, you can see there is plenty of water out there on the track, and from our commentary position here, it's quite windy, and I think it might still be drizzling a little bit. And there you can see the spray coming off the back of the Prema Power Team car of Mick Schumacher then, and he's mired down there in P16 on the grid, so he's going to be his visibility is really going to be compromised. And that run into turn number 1, which, you know, that's such a tight turn. Turn number 1, you're going downhill, you're having to turn in for the turn as well. And of course, when you've got 22 cars barreling towards it, it'll be quite a scene this morning, I'm sure. Lando Norris from P1, Jake Hughes P2, then it's Callum Eilert, Sasha Finestra, then Maximilian Gunter, Ralph Aron, Jehan Druvla, then it's Joey Mawson, Nikita Mazepin, Suzuki Martino, then Max Deforney, Joel Eriksson, Ferdinand Habsburg, Guan Yu Zhu, Pedro Piquet, Mick Schumacher, Petro Floresco, then it's David Beckman, Marina Sato, Harrison Newey, Amaya Vadyanathan, and Kevin Andres brings up the rear of the grid as they make their way now towards the NGK chicane. There is the Lando Norris car making his way through that chicane now. You turn into the left, and then of course you're climbing uphill. The circuit length 3.629 kilometers, 11 turns, 7 of them right-handers, 4 of them are left. It's a flat and smooth surface. Medium stress on the tyre construction. There you can see the race duration, 33 minutes plus 1 lap. And Nürburgring, a circuit that you always look forward to in your Formula 3 career, or not?
Yeah, it's a really special track. For me, it feels like my second home. I think in the last 24 months is the circuit I've driven the most, especially this version, including the 25 kilometers of the Nordschleife. But it's a really special racetrack. It's a place where motorsport is it's a way of life.
Yes.
It's not only a hobby or a weekend thing. You live motorsport here every day, and it's really special. And the racetrack, it's lovely. It has a really nice layout, and it's always exciting to drive here.
So the cars then getting into their grid boxes. Lando Norris and Jake Hughes then with the front row. Expect Lando Norris to dive to the inside to protect that inside line going into turn 1 from Jake Hughes. We await the green flag from the marshal at the rear when the Badjanathan car and Kevin Andres get into their grid boxes. And all eyes then on our pole sitter Lando Norris as we're about to get the next race in this thrilling FIA Formula 3 European Championship underway. There is the green flag from the rear of the grid. So all eyes on the lighting gantry right at the top of your screen. When the lights are out, we're away and racing. Lando Norris gives it an absolute footfall. And Jake Hughes trying to do the same. You can see the cars absolutely whale-tailing. And keep your eyes on Maximilian Gunter here. And to the outside, Lando Norris has done everything that he needs to do. But the one that really made a brilliant start, Callum Eilert, So Norris from Eilert, then it's Maximilian Gunter, and thankfully all the cars getting through turn number 1 and the next sequence of turns so far okay. 3 cars abreast a little bit further down the grid. Maximilian Gunter then on the back of Callum Eilert now, and some jostling for places there as running out wide goes Mick Schumacher in the number 25 car, and that is just an example of how torrid the visibility will be for you. And running out wide there and picking up some rubbish. That was either Harry Newey or Max Deforney. And out, unfortunately, is the car of Amaya Vadyanathan. And his car, number 21, is out. Looks like damage to the right-hand side of that car. But Lando Norris screaming ahead and making up as much of a margin as he possibly can. And a problem there for Maximilian Gunter. Well picked up, Alex.
Looks like he dropped some position. Maybe he ran out wide. Or went into the runway area when we see Lando Norris making an impressive start. He did a really good start from the grid.
Whoa!
Now Maxi Gunter.
That's not helped him with Ralph Aron. There was contact between the two of them there. And Callum Eilert really under pressure now. So Callum Eilert driving in the Prema Power Team car, then Norris leading from Eilert, then it's Hughes, Mazepin, Fenestra, then is P5 with Mawson P6, Maximilian Gunter now P7, and just ahead of Ralph Aron. So into turn 1 they go, the rain still coming down now and the spray absolutely being thrown all over the tarmac surface then, as well, you can just see through that camera lens, visibility is chronic.
Yeah, we see cars sliding all the way through from left to right, right to left. We see now Jake Hughes defending the position, or no, getting past Callum Eilert.
Yes, you're right. Callum fighting back, and of course also wanting to buy into that is Nikita Mazepin as well. So Callum Eilert does lose out on a place, and David Beckman goes around the Moto Park driver. Then David Beckman is out now.
Seeing damage front right. We see, I think, the wishbone a bit broken. We see now the.
So this is at the chicane, isn't it?
Ralph Aron got a bit twisted, and then he got straightened by the Maximilian
Gunter car. That was the contact between the two of them.
Like, he was a bit lucky that the Maxi Gunter was there to put the car a bit again straight. He went over the curb way too much, lost the car.
He would have lost it.
He would have lost it completely. He was already over the edge. We see now maybe the incident with David Beckman.
No, that's Joel Eriksson and Harrison Newey, isn't it? So Joel Eriksson and Harrison Newey then with problems, and that's the Beckman.
He clipped. It's the same. He lost a bit the car, and I think
also going out there was the car of Petro Floresco, also from Moto Park. So there we can see the jump over the fence from David Beckman as he sadly is no longer taking part in this race, and that's Nikita Mazepin for High Tech GP, who's up against the barriers now. The gravel trap doing its job there in terms of slowing the car down. Oh, well, that was, in fairness, goodness me, that so nearly collected Callum Eilert, didn't it?
As well. It was so close.
Now it looked, and I only caught a glimpse of it, it looked like there was contact between Fenestra and him.
Yeah, I think he just Fenestra lost the car on the brakes.
Okay.
And got Nikita Mazepin on the... This is what happened with this car. I mean, you have so much standing water, and yeah, looks like Mazepin braked.
He tried to steer out of it, didn't he? But
yeah, exactly. Mazepin brakes maybe a little bit earlier than was Fenestra was expecting.
Yeah.
And he just clipping on the brakes and push him in the spin and lost the car.
Full course yellow then.
It was so close for Callum Eilert.
Oh, wasn't it just? Wasn't it just?
You want to turn, and you see a car coming all the way through. You're right. And we see the difference from Lando Norris in 2 laps, already 5 seconds ahead.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? Yeah, 4.7 seconds. And Jake Hughes P2, Callum Eilert P3, and Nikita Mazepin, of course, now out as we saw that car up against the barriers. Now, the incident involving car number 99 has been noted by race control. And there you can see the number 99 High-Tech GP Nikita Mazepin car being lifted out of the way. This full course yellow will be lifted once the recovery is done. So Lando Norris, his start wasn't absolutely brilliant.
It was perfect. It was straight on the light.
But the back end of the car was
almost no wheel spin, making a perfect acceleration. Callum Iliott's start was also pretty good. We saw Jake Hughes lost a bit of the momentum on the first part of the start. That made him lose 3-4 places. But to be fair, pretty clean start. Everyone respect each other. No big crash in corner one, which is usual to see. And we see Fenestra's coming now in to change his front wing.
There's some other work going on the car as well, isn't there? The Carlin team are all over the Fenestra car.
Probably also some...
That's when the gravel trap does its job, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of taking the speed out of the car, and actually it was quite an innocuous bump against the barriers, but didn't he do well to avoid...
So full course yellow is over.
Front end of the car actually lifted up then, look, as the car bounces its way through the ground.
So close. We'd like to see the onboard from Nikita Mazepin, see how close he was to Callum Ilott, but I think he was really close.
Yes.
So it's green flag again.
So Norris, Hughes, Ilott and Joey Mawson is up to P4. Fenestra was P5, but of course we've seen him in the pit lane having the front nose replaced. So this is our race leader, Lando Norris, then. As he makes his way down the back straight now with the spray coming off the back of the car, he is relatively untroubled, just trying to weave. He has the time to do so to try and regenerate some temperature into those wet weather tyres as around goes the Marino Sato car. Motopark drivers are really in the wars, aren't they, today? So this race one, of course, for the three across the Formula 3 European Championship here. And, whoa, there's a big slide there from Joel Eriksson. The back end of the car just making contact with the number 33 car of Marino Sato. And Harrison Newey able to perhaps take a little bit of advantage in that in the Van Amersfoort Racing number 17 car. So, whoa. Around goes the 21 car of Amaya Madjanathan. And Maximilian Gunter
dropped down to P18, so maybe some issue for him, or he had to stop in the pit lane. We missed that, so maybe he had to change the wing or some small puncture. Maybe with the contact with Ralph Aron, he had a puncture, or
perhaps so.
Perhaps, yeah.
So he's hounding Marino Sato ahead of him now. Maximilian Gunter desperately needing to have three good results this weekend to get his championship charge back on track once again. The incident between car number 37 and car number 99, the Sasha Fenestra and the Nikita Mazepin incident, is being investigated as we speak. P2 then for Jake Hughes in car number 34, and Joey Mawson and Callum Ilott having a fight over the final podium place for P3. Mentioned that Joey Mawson had done a really good job in qualifying, and of course he's taken advantage of some that have fallen by the wayside during the course of the race so far, and finds himself battling with Callum Ilott, as I say, for the final podium place, and in fact he's done it. He's gone through to P3, and Callum Ilott now relegated to P4 as they make their way through the NGK chicane now. Here comes Joey Mawson then, P3, as he bounces his way over the curbs. So there in graphics you can see it's an extraordinary margin that Lando Norris has. It was an extraordinary margin with which he qualified, some 9/10 quicker than anybody else. And now he's 10.5 seconds up the road from Jake Hughes in P2. As I mentioned, Joey Mawson is now P3. Callum Ilott is P4. Car number 37, Fenestra, is going to get a drive-through penalty for that contact. So that's going to really ruin, well, Fenestra's race has been ruined by virtue of the fact he's had to come in to the pit lane to have his nose cone changed anyway, but now with a drive-through penalty as well. So Joey Mawson then doing very well in these extremely challenging conditions, finds himself P3, and in P5, wow, that was a real sideways moment there for Tadazuke Makino in the High-Tech GP car. He was almost power sliding it around that turn, Alex.
Yeah, the conditions are really hard. I mean, also it's really fun to drive in this situation. It's fully wet. No, I really enjoy to drive when you have such a wet track. It's crazy. And here the grip, like you were saying before, the grip is quite high even in the wet, so you can really push the car, you can really push the limits of the car, and also, as we see many times, you can push, and in case you do a small mistake, you go maybe a little bit too fast, or you lose the car, you can just use the small runaways areas and keep going. While in other circuits, if you have a mistake, for example, this mistake in Nürburgring, you are over.
No. Or indeed Zandvoort last time out, of course.
Yeah, Zandvoort, you are straight on the gravel pad or in the wall.
Game over then, isn't it? Mick Schumacher in the points then, P10 at the moment. Deforney ahead of him, and behind Mick Schumacher is Prema Power Team driver Guan Yu Zhu. So Mick Schumacher then, in the number 25 car, heads towards the NGK chicane. And a surprising amount of curbs, given how technical and how sophisticated these FIA Formula 3 European Championship cars are. You lot are not, you're not easy on the curbs, are you? You do take quite a lot.
Yeah, when you use the wet line, it helps you a little bit to rotate the car.
Right.
As you are not approaching the curbs, we see now again the replay. As you are not approaching the curbs with such a high speed, it's not so hard for the car anymore.
Right.
This is a bit too much, in my opinion. You need to like kiss a little bit this yellow sausage. Don't get that much, but it helps you actually a little bit to rotate the car. It's a bit karting style.
Okay.
You go to the curb and just unsettle the car enough to make it rotate.
Well, rotating the circuit very well is Lando Norris, 10.9 seconds ahead of Jake Hughes in P3, and there we can see the Van Amersfoort car of Joey Mawson, which is currently running P3 ahead of Callum Eilert. Tadasuke Makino then in car number 11, then Ferdinand Habsburg. Now, I was pretty impressed with Ferdinand Habsburg at Zandvoort. Saw some good driving from Ferdinand Habsburg, but the best driving of the lot is coming from this man at the moment, Lando Norris, the Carlin driver who really is super impressive in the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. Jake Hughes then 10.9 seconds behind. Let's see if Lando has increased that margin a bit further, as Jake Hughes will cross the timing line any moment now as we watch the car down the start-finish straight. Well, he has extended to exactly 11 seconds, the margin between P1 and P2. Joey Mawson a further 6.4 seconds down, and then Callum Eilert a full 3 seconds down on Joey Mawson before we see Makino, Habsburg, Druvala then, and Pedro Piquet is running in P8. Max Deforney is P9, and as I mentioned just a few moments ago, Mick Schumacher in P10. Maximilian Gunter, we see P18, and needs to get through and past the Marino Sato car, which has done, and now it's Petro Florescu that he is chasing down, and then Kayvan Andres will be the next one for Maximilian Gunter in the target sites. Now this, a rare error from Lando Norris, Alex?
I mean, he has a good margin, so, and we see he's lapping really well, so just pushing the limits, trying to go in the same.
Callum Eilert doing the same.
Doing the same.
And is that what the drivers are doing? They're just pushing and seeing just how far they can push.
Yeah, I mean, in this situation, it's so difficult. You cannot like rest and keep it, because also if it's still raining or the track is dry and it's changing every lap, so you need to adapt to the new conditions. And of course, you need to try and push every time, and this can happen with this car. Lock the tires or run a bit away, and also you need to keep focus. I mean, I know from the endurance a bit the situation now, like Lando Norris to have a gap of almost 10 seconds. If you relax a bit too much,
yes,
then you can start to see mistakes, or you can start to mistake, and then the gap is getting closer and closer. So you should definitely not lose the focus and don't think it's everything done. You need to keep focusing and keep driving well till the end of the race, which is...
Well, your point is absolutely accurate, because he's gone from having an 11-second margin to 9.3. So that little error cost dearly, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It costs you 1.5 seconds maybe, and if you do this during 5, 6, 7 laps, this will mean, for example, in this case, Jake Hughes will come really close, and you can be again into pressure.
Lando Norris is also going to have backmarking traffic to pass now. He's got the number 21 car of Amaya Vadyanathan ahead, and we saw Callum Eilert sliding as well, which has allowed the number 11 car of Tadazuke Makino to get ever closer to him. So Callum Islet in P4, and it's just 9/10 between P4 and P5 at the moment. So Lando Norris then, with that rare error. Well, was it an error? As Alex has said, he's just pushing to see where and how far he can push the car. But you can see that he has back-marking cars ahead of him that he's going to have to navigate his way through. And there's our P2 driver, Jake Hughes then, who's some 9.3 seconds down on our race leader, Lando Norris. What have we got? Some 17 minutes of the race still to go, plus 1 lap in these really challenging conditions here at the Nürburgring. It is the first race of 3 across the weekend for the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. And Hughes has taken another 3/10 out of Lando now. But that 9 seconds is still a very, very big margin that Lando Norris has in his favour. There is Joey Mawson then, who is P3. Callum Islet still P4, holding off Tadazuke Makino. Then it's Ferdinand Hasberg, Druvla, and then it's PK Tafoni, and Mick Schumacher is running in P10. So that's the way it looks at the moment, and you can see there as Joey Mawson makes his way through turns 2 and 3. Again, he's exploring the limits of adhesion and getting the back end of the car out sideways, controlling it with opposite lock as Maximilian Gunter tries to move himself up the order, having had a torrid time of it at the moment. He's down there fighting over P14, 15 and 16 at the moment, Maximilian Gunter. So out of the points-paying situation, which in the championship is critical, because Maximilian Gunter is some 11 points behind Lando Norris now, and of course Lando Norris is going to bank another huge haul of points. 25 up for grabs for the win for Lando Norris if he can maintain that 9-second margin he has over Jake Hughes. So Marino Sato then in car number 33 is running in P17. And there you can see the number 47 car of Kayvan Andres then that Maximilian Gunter needs to get past to move himself up into P14, and whether he'll be hoping that the remaining 15.5 minutes of this, a valuable point might be gleanable in this race, because it's Mick Schumacher that's currently in the final points paying place. So Maximilian Gunter then, and as I mentioned, the Kayvan Andres car then ahead. Kayvan Andres in car number 47, the Moto Park driver, and Maximilian Gunter, who in the early stages of this season led the championship, and he's lining up Kayvan now for a move going into the NGK chicane. Dives out of the spray so that visibility is not too compromised, and Maximilian Gunter now, he'll be setting up the inside line, and he's done that, and he's on the inside around the Coca-Cola turn, and he does move past Kayvan Andres. Then but he runs wide now, and he loses all that momentum and the overtake.
Yeah, I saw the bit coming. He was like a little bit too fast on the entry. He was like, I don't know if it's gonna make it, and yeah, it was quite close to the gravel. You need to take care, because as soon as you hit the gravel a little bit, it's like attracting you. So it's like pushing you even more.
Pulling you in.
Pulling you in. So you need to really take care to don't go much in the gravel, because then it's like, even if you put a wheel on the gravel, then it's like sucking you, and you go all with all the car over the gravel.
So Lando Norris then, as just through the cloud, we can just see a little glimpse of sunshine, remarkably, here at the Nürburgring. Norris leading from Jake Hughes, and he's maintaining that margin of between 9 and 10 seconds between himself in P1 and Jake Hughes in P2. And here we can see some super slow-mos. This is the Jayan Druvla car number 27, being chased by Pedro Piquet, and there Nikita Mazepin makes his feelings known, I suspect, to Fenestra.
Yeah, it's normal for a driver to be unhappy for such a situation. I mean, you just break on your point and someone is clipping you and taking you, let's say, away, but that's racing. And in the wet, as I said, it's really hard. The visibility is really hard. The conditions are hard. We see many drivers doing mistakes and pushing the limits. So you see, it's not easy anymore. We see now.
This is take 2, isn't it?
Yeah, trying again this time. Looks like has everything under control.
A little bit of bodywork on the inside of that turn, isn't there?
Yeah, I think it looks like
end plate.
End plate, yeah, end plate from one of the wings, the front wings. But if we say he prepared the overtake maneuver, he opens a bit the entry of the right-hander of the chicane.
Yeah.
A little bit stop the car, rotate it better, using the curve, getting better on power, maximizing the traction, and he made the move even before the corner.
Yes. But you have to set that up, don't you, by getting the exit of the chicane correct?
Yeah, exactly. It's just a matter of thinking and how you can find a weak point of your opponent, of the other driver, and then try to fill the gap.
Well, Lando Norris then, not showing too many weak points, that's for sure, as he completes and starts another lap now. 11 seconds to the good over Jake Hughes. Fastest lap of 1:37.531, nothing like the lap times that we will see, of course, in the dry at the Nürburgring. The thankful thing is that for tomorrow, the weather conditions are set to improve significantly. After saying that, I think they are improving now. I think the rain has stopped, and as I say, the sun is blinking through. But here at the Eiffel, the weather conditions can change in a blink, truthfully. And as I say, I thought that was the case coming in before the start of the race, but then the rain came down once again. Callum Eilert then P4, Joey Mawson ahead of him in P3, and Jake Hughes, the man that's chasing this race leader, Lando Norris. But he's some 11 seconds down on Lando Norris, who, apart from the one error that we've seen as he was just exploring the limits of where the adhesion was for the car, ran out wide, and that did cost him perhaps a second and a half, but he's recalled that time back and has opened up that margin over Jake Hughes. As to be said, Jake Hughes has not made any errors either, and he's driving very, very well for P2. Jake Hughes is going into this race P6 in the championship. This will do his championship haul no harm at all. Well, a quick dive out there for Petro Florescu, who decided that he couldn't make the NGK chicane and didn't take the chicane, so that will be looked at, won't it? Because if you're seen to be able to take an advantage from something, as that's the Pedro Piquet car, I think. Yes, it is Pedro Piquet.
Yeah.
That in replay now.
Just lock the wheels completely when straight into the barriers.
So currently P12 in the championship for Pedro Piquet, and he's not going to bank any points for today. So Pedro Piquet then is out of the race. The Netherlands-based team, Van Amersfoort Racing, who have their driver Joey Mawson in P3. Carlin, though, with P1 at the moment for Lando Norris, and I say at the moment, it's really not looked troubled at all, as we have another full course yellow here. Alex, explain to us full course yellow, difference between a full course yellow, safety car, etc., etc.
Yeah, the full course yellow is meant, for example, we would have now a safety car situation, all the gap that Lando Norris has been lost. So the new rules is full course yellow is all this racetrack is under yellow, so all the cars has to reduce the speed to the same speed, 80 kilometers an hour.
Yes. This
is done now by the new technologies electronically, so all the cars are now restricted to 80 kilometers an hour. And when the race control decides it's a green flag, they, let's say, push a button and all the cars are free to go again and push again. And
so the technology means that even if you wanted to do more than 80 kilometers per hour, you would not be able to do so.
Yeah, exactly. Depends which series. Some cars, I think the F3 has it on the steering wheel. You have a call from the race direction, full course yellow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you have to do it. For example, we have this on the prototypes on the LMP3 or the LMP2. When you have a full course yellow, it's the same. You have race direction calling you on the radio and saying, we go on full course yellow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then by the moment it's 1, you need to be already 80 or close to 80. And then also they are checking and they are taking control that you don't keep pushing for a little bit, or you go when it's a green flag again, you go too early out of the code yellow, full course yellow situation. Okay, so in that situation, as we look at the timing screen now, Alex, explain this to me. Lando Norris, his margin over Jake Hughes is now, as we see, Pedro Piquet really, really disappointed there.
the margin between Lando Norris and Jake Hughes is now 28.6. Does that mean then that Jake Hughes probably pressed the full course yellow button marginally sooner than Lando Norris?
No. We have also this in the endurance now. The delta times between the driver, it's a bit crazy up and down because of the different position of the sectors.
Yes.
But as soon as everyone gets the green and it's over the first or two sectors, then all the times get equal again as they were before. It's just a timing thing, depending which part of the track is each driver and when did they press the full course yellow button.
Which is the point I made. Okay. Pedro Piquet then really disappointed and is out of the race. The car is being recovered, which is the need for the full course yellow. And once that car has been recovered, with some 7 minutes left on the clock, plus 1 lap, we will be back to racing once again. Lando Norris leading from Jake Hughes, Joey Mawson, Callum Ilott, and then it is Makino, Habsburg, Drew Vala, Deforney, Schumacher, Zhu, Harrison Newey, Joel Eriksson, and then Maximilian Gunter, P13. And this is the Maximilian Gunter car. Car number 3 then. Through that chicane. Now that was a better exit, wasn't it? And you were saying about the perfect line through there is not to take too much of that yellow sausage curve, but just enough almost.
Yeah, you need to take a tiny bit, like kissing the yellow sausage.
Sorry, what a slide that is for Joel Eriksson.
all the way sideways, I think it is.
Right, the full course yellow is coming to a close now. We're being advised by race control. So some super slow-mo shots that we were able to bring these super slow-mos, those ones. Right, so, and now we go. So cars back, and is there a problem there?
Yeah, maybe it's like I was saying, you need to, if you don't get a message or you just oversleep, then it can be that the people overtake you because you're still on the 80 kilometers an hour procedure in the full course yellow, and the other driver just get the notice or whatever from green flag or see the green flag and go just a fraction earlier.
And that can make a difference, just a fraction of a second.
Yeah, exactly. Because you are running 80, meanwhile the other cars are already accelerating to normal speed.
So Lando Norris then, continuing his quest of dominance in not only qualifying but also in the race that we've seen as well. You can see the green flags now being waved as that full course yellow comes to a close, and Lando Norris then is the final run for home now, as out into the gravel trap goes the car of Max Deforney. Max Deforney racing for the Van Amersfoort team this weekend at the Coca-Cola turn. He ends up losing just a little piece of bodywork and a handful of places as he drags a load of gravel out onto the track as well. Maximilian Gunter, Maxi Gunter then running in P13, some distance down on Harrison Newey. So Maximilian Gunter then at the moment an utterly pointless race for him as he runs wide now, just hoping that the grip was going to come to him, and it didn't. I mean, he really is all over the tarmac, the grass as well, and this is not going well for Maxi Gunter today, is it?
It's really pushing the car, pushing the limit, trying to get some time back.
Behind him, the Ralph Aron car that you can see, the number 7 machine from High-Tech GP. Maximilian Gunter, of course, for Prema Power Team. We have under 4 minutes for the race remaining, plus 1 lap. Lando Norris then 15.2 seconds ahead of Jake Hughes as the times come back into reality now following that full course yellow. Joey Mawson being clawed in now by Callum Ilott, just 3/10 between Callum Ilott and Joey Mawson. There could be a fight on for the final podium place for P3. Sure enough, let's cross to that now. Van Amersfoort racing there with Joey Mawson in P3. Callum Ilott trying to come back at him now, the Prema Power Team British driver. Joey Mawson, of course, the ADAC Formula 4 champion from last year, elevated to the FIA Formula 3 European Championship this year. The young Australian, really likeable, and he is being hounded now by Callum Ilott, who had a very dominant win in It was race 2 at Zandvoort last time out for the FIA Formula 3 European Championship, and now he can sense that the opportunity is potentially there for a P3 place if he can try and wrestle his way past Joey Mawson as they make their way down the what is effectively the back straight of this Nürburgring circuit behind the paddock. There's this little kink here which is taken absolutely flat, but the cars head towards the NGK chicane now, and Callum Ilott will really try and close under braking and put himself into a position where he tries to set up an overtake opportunity either around the Coca-Cola turn, but he's nothing like close enough to be able to do that, or maybe going into turn number 1. And once again, you can see them avoiding that little piece of end plate which is stuck out there on the track. And let's see if Callum Ilott can really reel in Joey Mawson now heading in towards turn number 1. Just 2 minutes remaining, plus 1 lap. He's right in the spray of Joey Mawson. Joey Mawson protects the inside line. Callum Ilott goes to the outside and will try and get underneath Joey Mawson now, but he's unable to do so because actually through turn 1, because it's downhill, there's some standing water there and the grip doesn't allow, does it?
Yeah, turn 1 you have 2 kind of lines, and we just saw them. You can either run wide, where you do a lot of meters, but you can go a little bit faster, or you keep the car, you slow down the car, you stop the car, and you go through the inside line. Both lines are working on the wet, depending also how wet is the racetrack. Let's say the more water is on the tarmac, let's say closer you can go to normal dry line, or so the tighter you can go in the corner.
Yes.
But we saw both drivers doing the same line, doing different lines and coming same out of the corners. And I think this battle is also allowing Makino to get close now to Callum Ilott, and maybe he can join the battle for the 3rd place of the podium.
Ferdinand Habsburg and Druvela then. Both sideways, poetry in motion between the two of them. Here comes Callum Ilott now for another go on Joey Mawson. This is for P3. He dives out of the spray now as they head down the backs of this circuit. They barge wheels just a little bit. Callum Ilott on the outside. He's not going to be able to make the chicane, nor is Joey Mawson. Joey goes through the grass. Now Callum Ilott's going to have to yield that position. He does do so. And wow, we're in the closing stages of this race, and it's really come alive, this battle for P3, as Callum Ilott has got closer to Joey Mawson, both of them making errors through the NGK chicane. In the end, the advantage that Callum Ilott had, he gave back to Joey Mawson, which is exactly the right thing to do. He now will try once again to get underneath the Joey Mawson car on the exit of this turn. Joey tries to make his car as wide as possible to prevent Callum Ilott from coming through, and again runs him out wide. It's good defensive driving from Joey Mawson, and Callum Ilott is just trying to thread his car like through the eye of a needle to try and find a way past. And as Alex has said, that is allowing Tadazuke Makino to get into this battle as well. So Callum Ilott is not only trying to attack, but he's going to have to be wary of the fact that Tadazuke, right behind him in the high-tech GP car, can sense the opportunity of converting P5 into P4 as well. Brilliant stuff in the final stages, just 2 laps of this race. There's Ferdinand Habsburg and Jan Druvela then, and it's 3 now for P3. Exactly as you said, Alex, that Tadazuke Makino has come into this battle now.
Yeah, exactly. He now is joining. We have one and a bit more laps to go, so everything can happen. We see Callum Ilott trying to find a switchback in every corner, like we see now on the brakings down onto the inside. He's done it. Joey Mawson let the door a little bit, but he has the inside line. Let's see if he get a better exit, but Makino probably will also use his advantage now to go through between both cars. Callum Ilott tried the inside line, maybe it's too slow, and he will maybe struggle to go into the power. As we see that the car will spin in a little bit, so definitely the good opportunity for Tadazuke Makino to get into the 4th position. Let's see if he can push into Joey Mawson into this last lap and get into the last step of the podium.
Well, Callum really losing out there, as we predicted might happen. The harder he tries to attack, of course, that's allowed others into this battle, and the real beneficiary, Tadazuke Makino, then, who finds himself in the position held by Callum Ilott for so many laps as Lando Norris power slides his FIA Formula 3 European Championship car around the 3.629 Nürburgring circuit here. He's been untroubled. He's 16.5 seconds to the good. And this will really cement his position in the points chart at the moment. Through the NGK chicane he goes. He has merely the Coca-Cola turn to do. It's been another Very, very good performance from Lando Norris, where apart from one error that we saw, it's been a faultless drive. Lando Norris takes another win. The checkered flag falls for the Carlin driver as he wins from Jake Hughes, who will take P2. These are back-marking cars before we see Jake Hughes round the Coca-Cola turn to take a very valuable P2. And then it was the 3, maybe even 4 or 5 for P3, but it is going to be Joey Mawson. At the moment, Tadasuke Makino is not close enough to be able to do anything. Joey Mawson will round the final turn. He's had to defend very hard. Callum Eilert trying to come back and retake that P4 position, but in the end was unable to do so. So it's Mawson, Makino, Eilert, then it was Habsburg, Druvala, then coming across the line to take P8, it's going to be Mick Schumacher ahead of Guan Yu Zhu, and Joel Eriksson in the final points paying place will take P10. And Max Stefani then will take P11. Wow. Right at the end of the race, Alex, a bit of excitement, wasn't there, for that P3 place?
Yeah, really nice battle. We see now again the replay. The lap, there was the lap before when Callum tried on the outside, a little bit of clipping tires. He ran out of space. Oh, he also Joey Mawson cut a chicane. He said,
yes,
this didn't notice.
Yes. No.
And now we see the lap after when Callum Eilert tried the inside line, stopped the car, but Joey Mawson kept the outside line. And then here Callum Eilert lost a bit on the power, and was the opportunity for Tadasuke Makino to get the inside line and squeeze his car in between Joey Mawson and Callum Eilert. Victory for Lando Norris. One more. Impressive drive from him.
Apart from the one error that we mentioned earlier on, where he was exploring the limits of the adhesion, he did not put a foot wrong, did he?
No. He did a brilliant start. Solid race from the beginning till the end. No major mistake, no mistakes.
Very, very impressive drive once again from Lando Norris then. Result in full for you. Lando Norris takes the win from Jake Hughes, Joey Mawson P3, Tadasuke Makino P4, Callum Eilert P5, then it was Ferdinand Habsburg. Jehan Daruvla, Mick Schumacher, Guan Yu Zhu and Joel Eriksson then rounding out the top 10. Then it was Max Stefani, Harrison Newey P12, Maximilian Gunter points not banked for Maxi. P14 Ralph Aron. Then it was Fenestra, and there we can see Lando Norris then out of the car, having done a fantastic job. Another very, very pleasing performance. In the Drivers' Championship then he extends his margin over Maximilian Gunter, and Joel Eriksson P3, Callum Eilert P4, Jake Hughes P5. So 338 points plays 302. With qualifying to come for races 2 and 3 a little bit later today. So there we have it. The cars will be making their way into the Parc Fermé area. Then the drivers will be heading up for their podium, of course. And there we can see the Jake Hughes car. There is Joey Mawson. Rob down there to congratulate Joey from the Van Amersfoort team. How must this feel for Maximilian Gunter, Alex? You can see the championship slipping away from him.
Yeah, it's now you're getting closer and closer till the last meeting. It's a hard situation now. You see, you've been leading the championship, you've been strong, and now it's getting harder for him. But like we saw already many times this year, it can go up and down. It can be really well now, for example, for Lando Norris, and in next race can be a problem, or then Maxi can win, and so everything can still change. So I think all options are open for everyone.
That is the thing about the FIA Formula 3 European Championship, isn't it? As we can see Lando Norris there being congratulated by the Carlin team. Of course, I mentioned this at Zandvoort. It's not only good for the driver, it's actually good for the team as well, isn't it? Because, you know, the Trevor Carlin team has been involved in Formula 3 for many, many, many years. You know, the team brought right back into focus, perhaps, where, you know, we have seen the dominance of Prema, of course, in the previous years. perhaps that's really being challenged now by Carlin. Joey Mawson then for Van Amersfoort Racing, another one of the leading teams, and Joey Mawson taking a very, very important P3. P2 goes the way of Jake Hughes for the High-Tech GP team. Lando Norris. Another really very, very cool, calm, collected display of great driving for the young single-seater star. No question, he has a great future ahead of him in motor racing. So the drivers don't get much time off because they will be qualifying for races 2 and 3 later on today. And next 2 races in the FIA Formula 3 European Championship before all the cars shipped over to Austria to the Red Bull Ring, and then the grand finale to come at Hockenheim. So it really is the sharp end of the championship, Alex, now. So we see the drivers there all in the pre-podium area, getting prepared to go out onto the podium. Yeah, sharp end of the championship. Absolutely every single point now is vitally important, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, Dave. Now like we were saying, it's getting every time it's closer and closer. Every time the last finish line is there, the last checker flag. So every point becomes really important, and every achievement counts. We can even say counts double. So every mistake, it's hard then to solve again, and every victory makes you step forward step closer to the main champion.
So on the top step of the podium is Lando Norris. There's Jake Hughes making his way to step number 2, and the young Australian Joey Mawson will be heading out for the P3 step. Unless I'm very much mistaken, it's Joey's first podium in the FIA Formula 3 European Championship as the national anthem plays out for Lando Norris. Trophy presentation time then. Uniwheels AG, chairman of the supervisory board, makes the trophy presentation to Lando Norris then. And Dr. Wolfgang Hiller then making the team's presentation to Carlin. Jake Hughes receives his P2 trophy. And a loud cheer for sure for the Van Amersfoort driver, Joey Mawson. So they'll all pose together for the photographs, and then expect the Henkeltrocken to be sprayed. A mock on the podium kind of doesn't really matter because the drivers will be fairly wet in any event. It's not going to matter too much. Right, photos done. Let's get on with the celebrations then. Mawson will be the quickest. Told you. There you go. So, Lando hasn't even got the top off yet. He's legging it, look. Oh, come on, Lando. You can hear them cry. Oh, he's just... There's one Carlin guy that's going to be on a written warning. Okay, there we have it. Make sure you join us, please, for the races 2 and 3 from the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. But from race number 1 from Alex and myself, bye-bye for now.